Here inside the Q, the Cavs get their first win in the Eastern Conference Semifinals. The series between the Cavs and the Bulls tied at 1 game apiece. 106-91 the final tonight. Chris Fedor, Joe Vardon, Chris Haynes to recap this one. And guys, we learned late last night, thanks to this guy to my left here, that Tristan Thompson was going to get the start in Game 2. He starts instead of Mike Miller. Completely different result in the first quarter. Cavs outscore Chicago by 20. What did Tristan do in the starting lineup that maybe Mike Miller did not do in Game 1?
Well, he's just a bolt of energy. That's the main thing. We all know the negative side effects of playing Tristan and Timo Moscow together. There's a lack of spacing. But his energy rubs off on everybody else. When he's out there grabbing those offensive rebounds, giving them extra possession, that gets everybody going. And then LeBron James talked about he doesn't like going into a game and having to overthink. Well, that's kind of what you have to do when you're going in, knowing you're going to guard a center. So I think he was just out of his game. It got into his head in the first game. Today he was able to play his natural position, natural form. Went out there and played, was aggressive. Tristan Thompson he didn't score much, but he definitely had a huge impact in how they got off to such a good start.
Joe David Blatt talked about it in the postgame. He said that he really liked the aggressivity. I don't know what that word is, but then again, I didn't go to Princeton. But he liked that about LeBron James. And LeBron, he was going to be more aggressive on Tuesday following practice.
You know, aggressive is kind of a catchword in playoff basketball. It's a way that people use to describe just when things are going wrong, when things were better that night, they just say, well, you know, I need to be more aggressive, or I was. But it wasn't just a level of effort for LeBron or what he did with the ball. It was how he thought about the game. I mean, Chris brought it up that he doesn't like to overthink, but really, I mean, that for large portions of the year, that is what he's done. He's had a lot on his mind in terms of how do I get each of these other players involved. And we've had rare cases throughout the year where he had a first quarter like he did tonight, which was 14 points. And I thought it was fascinating after the game just to hear him and Kyrie Irving talk about why that came about. And it was Kyrie kind of imploring him to have, you know, another cliche, but a little bit, you know, more to the point here of a killer instinct. And I mean, that's something that Michael had and Kobe had, and I think we can all agree that Kyrie Irving has that. And LeBron, for as great as he is, has at times throughout his career deferred. And tonight, he single-handedly blew the Bulls off the court in the first quarter. And I thought it was really insightful to hear LeBron and Kyrie talk about how that came to be.
And Chris, to your point about putting Tristan Thompson in the starting lineup and what that did to LeBron, you're right, it put him in his natural position. And the other thing that we noticed at the very beginning of the game is LeBron came out with that intensity on the defensive end as well. He wasn't playing free safety. He wasn't freelancing. He wasn't guarding Joakim Noah, a non-offensive threat. He was in the shorts of Jimmy Butler, and I feel like that got him engaged in the game early as well.
It definitely got him going, and he was aggressive on both ends of the floor. He talks about he likes to allow the game to come to him. He didn't do that tonight.
Right.
He took it right at him, and that's what everybody's been saying. LeBron James, you're so big, you're so powerful, you're so physical. Why don't you just take it to him? And so, he can do that every game if he wants to. But he's such a well-rounded player that sometimes he gets to defer to Kyrie or other guys, trying to get other guys involved. That's just in his DNA. That's just the type of basketball player he is. But once he puts his mindset to that I'm going to go out there and be aggressive, and get to the bucket at will, he can do it, man. We see that.
Joe, is this what we should expect moving forward in this series with LeBron? The same kind of attitude, the same kind of approach offensively?
Well, that's a good question, Chris. And I asked LeBron if he has a finger on how this series is going to go, not in terms of who's going to win or in how many games, but just how the games are going to play out. And he says that he does. And if he does have a feel for it, and that feel came after what we saw tonight, then I guess you would expect LeBron to be like the 2009 LeBron. I don't know if he has the legs for that, to be honest with you. And if you guys remember, towards the end of the fourth quarter, there was like 4.5 minutes left, and he had to ask out.
Yes,
he was done.
Right.
And so I don't know. There's 5 games left in the series. If it goes the full 7, I don't know if he can give 34 minutes a night like those 34 minutes for the rest. Now, he's going to have some help with J.R. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he can play 25 or 26 minutes like the crazy man and, 9, distributing a little more.
Now, J.R. Smith is going to come back for Game 3, but Iman Shumpert has been in the starting lineup for these first 2 games. And Chris Shump has been terrific in this series against Chicago. He was great in Game 4 against Boston as well. Who does he think he is? J.R. Smith canning 3 after 3 after 3? It seems like Chicago is willing to let him take those shots because they're going to have to give up something. He continues to make the Bulls pay.
Yeah, he's going to be that guy where they're going to say, we gotta live with that.
Yeah.
We can't allow Kyrie Irving to get wide open shots, LeBron to get wide open shots or driving lanes. Iman is going to be that guy. And if you think about the way he's playing, I don't think he can continue hitting those threes with that much regularity. But if he is, he's a better option than JR because he's so much well-rounded of a player. Mm-hmm. He can get out and be a tenacious defender. J.R. Smith, he's put that effort out there on the defensive end, but he's not Shump on the defensive end. But Shump is going to stay in that starting lineup. You can't move it. And David Blatt is a guy of feel. Whatever's going well at the time, he's going to do that.
Right.
But this just goes back to the, Joe wrote about it a couple weeks ago. This is just going back to what they envisioned in the first place.
Yeah.
J.R. Smith coming off the bench, being that threat, and they haven't had a legitimate guy that can come and get you 13, 14 points off the bench. This may be a blessing in disguise, man. When J.R. comes back, because he's going to be hungry. Mm-hmm. He's going to have fresh legs. If Iman can keep playing somewhat to where he's playing right now, they're going to be pretty unstoppable.
What do you think about that, Joe? Do you think Iman's going to stay in the starting lineup, and do you think he should stay in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I do. And as you guys know, I've been talking about this week, that the lineup of Iman Shumpert and Tristan together as a starting 5, that if they came out and showed that they could play a certain way with those two, that you might see them go with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you guys on this. I think it should stay that way. Of course, it's no slight whatsoever to J.R. Smith. He's been great this year. But if he can come off the bench and give you that extra option, we're talking about maybe 4 or 5 fewer minutes. He's still going to play a ton of minutes. They love to switch their lineups around, but just to start that way, I'd go with what we saw tonight.
And here's the other thing, guys. David Blatt has shown this year, one of the things that I've really liked about him is he doesn't care about the name on the back of that jersey. Yeah. He's sat Kevin Love in fourth quarters before. He's taken Kyrie out. He's played Matthew Dellavedova 36 minutes at times because he feels like it's his responsibility, and it is, to do what's best for his basketball team. And even though it might be a slight to JR, and JR really hasn't done anything to lose the spot, if you've got a guy like Shump playing as well as he is, you have to bottle that, and you have to continue to go to that because he's been, in my opinion, the second best player in the first 2 games behind maybe LeBron.
Well, he knocked somebody out to lose the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So he did do something. You can't. You have to reward what's going well. And even though they lost game 1, my argument, it wasn't because of Shump.
Yeah.
Shump played his tail off, man. He was out there, and he has a confidence level right now going for him. And like I said, that confidence in that 3-point ball. He had the tendency for most of the season. He'll get the open shot, pump fake, pass it. Mm-hmm. And then what that does is allow the defense to, get back set, and you end up losing all the spacing and the separation that you gained from the ball movement because he's, passing up shots. But he's taking it. He even talked about it. He's getting his feet square, getting set. He just needs to, because he needs to be able to just catch and shoot. He's doing that well, man. And, he's one of the guys that right now, he's up there when you're talking about MVPs of this series so far in 2 games, man. You have to mention Iman Shumpert if you're going to talk about Kyrie and LeBron.
And we should there might be something wrong with him.
Yeah.
He said it was going to take a bunch of doctors telling him otherwise to keep him out of Game 3.
Right. If you're a Cavs fan, you have to hope that's true.
Right.
Because that would really, because everything that Chris said about him is correct, that would really be a blow if he couldn't go.
Now, are we having an earthquake going on?
Yeah, I know. It's like we're filming a movie over here. Iman strained groin, but again, he is hoping that he can play. David Blatt said he's hoping for a 48-hour miracle before Game 3. Joe, if you think about this series in the first 2 games, Game 1, the Cavs never led. Game 2 tonight, the Bulls never led. what should we take from the first two games if we're trying to examine what we're going to see moving forward in this baby?
Well, I think the one thing that you have to keep in mind is that all season, and especially in these playoffs, Derrick Rose has really struggled when he only has one game.
Okay.
And I don't know when Game 7 is, but right now through Game 6, there's only 1 day off in between every game. So the Derrick Rose that we saw, who may be getting run over by a truck behind me, maybe that's what's going on, I'm not sure. The Derrick Rose that we saw tonight and the one that we saw, it's probably going to be more like what we saw, or what we'll see going forward than, what we saw in Game
106-91 the final. The series between the Cavs and the Bulls even up at 1 apiece. Game 3 Friday in Chicago. And we're going to go because we've got a lot of noise.
Sorry, Caroline. We meant to talk about you.
Yeah.
Kevin Love was in the house. He was shown on the Humongotron. People loved that he was here. He stood up. He waved with the one arm that he could wave with. So all was good here at the Q tonight as the Cavs even this one up. 1 apiece, Game 3 Friday night in Chicago. For Joe Vardon and Chris Haynes, I'm Chris Fedor. We'll talk to you from Chicago where maybe, possibly, it'll be a little bit more quiet.